Hey guys, this is a segment from the Slumpbuster Podcast. You can find the full episode on any of the various podcast platforms, or of course, subscribe to us on YouTube for more of our content. Other than that, guys, sit down, bust a slump, and enjoy. It's time to talk about Tom Brady going to Tampa. It was the biggest offseason storyline. It was in a pre-COVID world. Things were simpler. Things were nice. Things were normal. And then Tom went to Tampa and just ruined everything. I didn't realize that Tom being in Boston was literally keeping this world together. I think we underrated Tom Brady's impact on our society. And Dre, I think it's important that you finally apologize to him.
Maybe it's actually Bill Belichick. This is his way of cheating, is he just gave the whole world COVID-19 to screw over Tom Brady and the rest of the country.
He clearly screwed over his own team, though. They had the most opt-outs if that's the case.
I know that is true. No, this team, is definitely going to be a new look for him. I'm excited to see what this offense can do with Brady being there. But again, I'm on the side that Brady, I think, is old, and I think he really did benefit from a good system and a good team, right? Or at least I shouldn't say good team, but a well-run team, right? There was times where everybody had always said, like, well, his receivers were questionable, right? Like his running backs were questionable. He didn't have a whole lot of help, but the system overall worked, right? And the defense was really stout. And I think, being in a new system that he doesn't know as well, yes, he's a hard worker. And yes, he maybe has, a better receiving core than he's had in, at least as of late in New England. But again, his line's maybe not the best, or at least not as good as New England's. And again, it's just a totally different scheme, totally different system. And we'll see how well he can adjust. And especially when the team isn't as regimented as it is in New England. I know a lot of guys are saying like, oh, Brady wanted to get away from that, right? To be able to relax and enjoy his last few years. But sometimes you don't know how good you have it until you leave. And then you realize like, oh man, that's why Bill Belichick is the best at what he does. And that's why the Patriots are the best at what they do. I think, you also have Gronk coming out of retirement to go back. Everybody's been talking about him sort of in a similar boat of that. Like he had sort of just been worn down and drained by the Belichick system and the Patriot organization. Now he's back. He seems like he's having fun, but you took a whole year off of football. I don't know if you necessarily get any better, right, by taking a year off. And now you're a whole year older. So I think there's a lot of expectation surrounding this team. There's a lot of buzz, but at the end of the day, I still don't think that they're going to be, an amazing team. So I'll have them going 10-6.
Okay. 10-6 for Dre. Well, let's run through just a couple of the more notable moves coming from them. So of course, Tom Brady signed a 2-year, $50 million fully guaranteed contract. So one of the few fully guaranteed deals you'll see in the NFL. Rob Gronkowski, of course, traded to the Patriots for a 4th-round pick, coming off, again, a year of premature retirement. They did draft Christian Wharf, which is a big offensive tackle out of Iowa, so they're trying to shore up that offensive line. Let's face it, Tom Brady's not the most mobile guy in the world. He needs a clean pocket. This is the type of guy that can do it. We know Iowa, their tight ends, their offensive line, they know how to block. They re-signed JPP and franchise tagged Shaq Barrett, who had 19.5 sacks last season. Very underrated defense. In fact, you might even say this is one of the best, if not the best, front seven in football. Because aside from JPP and Shaq Barrett, they have Devin White, Vita Vea, Lavonte David, who is one of the more underrated middle linebackers in football. I think it helps when your quarterback doesn't throw 30-plus interceptions. We know Brady's not going to throw interceptions, so that's going to only enhance the defense. I feel like one of the biggest things that hurt Tampa Bay as a whole is consistently be in negative yardage situations. Let's face it, if you're a defense, you have to come off the field or come back on the field consistently because your quarterback can't keep the ball in their hands. That is frustrating. Though it is noteworthy that Jameis's last pass as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Tom Brady's last pass as a New England Patriot were both pick sixes. Fun fact there, just thought I'd throw it. As far as my expectations for this team, so this is going to kind of spoil alert the rest of the division for me, but I have them winning the NFC South. I have them going 11-5. I think that despite the turnover, despite this being a new look offense, they have all the right pieces. Tom Brady didn't have a Mike Evans in New England. He sure as hell didn't have a Chris Godwin. Besides Gronk, and Gronk is a nice piece, but I'm not expecting 20 2014 Rob Gronkowski. I'm expecting a guy who took a year off, lost a lot of muscle mass. That's the Rob Gronkowski I'm expecting. Look for someone no one's expecting, like OJ Howard, a Cameron Brate to have a decent year. Keyshawn Vaughn, Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones in camp the other day was said to be catching everything. My only question is, do you think this offense is going to be more Bruce Arians or is it going to be more Tom Brady?
Well, Tom has said that he's willing to run Bruce Arians' system. And we know that Bruce Arians is a pretty good quarterback coach and just in general offensive coach. So I think it really will. I think Tom is going to try to make it Bruce Arians' offense. I also just don't know how successful Tom would be, right, in implementing his own system going to the Tampa Bay, right? It's not like he was a Peyton Manning type player or anything like that. So I really do think that'll be Bruce Arians, but it may be closer to like a 50-50, right? Like you get the greatness of Tom Brady and the accuracy and the tenacity that he has and discipline, as well as a good system in Arians and a good coach.
Wow. Dre actually saying Tom Brady has greatness.
He does. He is a great quarterback. I do think he's a little bit overrated right now. Whenever you're that old, I don't care.
Oh, dude, the old jokes. We're just cracking these old times.
When you are old, that's just how it is. Like
Are you going to break out the, what's it called? The baby powder and just go, Tom Brady's so old, just we're going to go white chicks with it?
Pretty much. Yeah, that's going to be exactly what it is. I'll buy him a cane for his birthday or something like that, a walker.
Drizzle. And if you don't know what drizzle it basically is an excuse to say if someone makes an I am statement or I will statement, either they have to do it or they have to buy you lunch. I'm going to hold that standard here in this podcast. So, Dre, if you don't buy Tom Brady a cane for his birthday, I would like Sadie's green chili. So go ahead and ship that over to Austin, Texas. I know you know the address.
No, if I had Tom Brady's address, I'd send him a cane. I'll do it right now.
You could just send it to Tampa because we know he runs that whole city. It's his yard. Whatever house, that's Tom Brady's house. He shows up whenever he just walks in there. It doesn't matter. He should have walked in when that guy saw him in his house and just said, "This is my house now. Do you realize you're in Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
TB12, bitch. TB12."
Oh my gosh. Oh, just imagine that though. A pro athlete walking into your house saying like, "Hey, get out." Like I couldn't imagine.
Hey, is this Byron's place? Who the fuck's Byron?
Yeah. Like, what? Would have been so funny.
Oh my god! Just looking up and seeing Tom Brady.
Yeah,
you're just chilling on the couch, right? What the fuck? Oh, you're Tom Brady.
Yeah. And why are you in my house?
Happy birthday! You should play it off casually.
I know. I don't even know what I would do in that situation. But anyways, no, I think
what would you do if you're Tom and you walk in? Have you ever accidentally walked into someone's house or apartment and just instantly have to turn around? I've walked into the wrong class in college before.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah, it's like you're sitting there and you're like, did I sign up for this class? Bye, guys. Just make sure you're not sitting too far up front. That's when it gets really awkward.
Yep. Yeah. You're the one person that picks up their bags and walks out, right? All the way up the stairs.
You just have to do it as quietly as possible.
Yeah.
But you know what happens in that situation. You end up dropping something. It never goes according to plan. You never go stealth mode whenever you fuck up like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, again, I have Tampa Bay finishing 11-5. Dre, you said 10-6.
Yep. 10-6.
Okay. Positive, optimistic expectations for Tom Brady's first year in Tampa. We know this is one of the most interesting teams in football.